much for your support in making this informative webinar available to the community during this critical time. Thank you for all your efforts and all you do. I'll love to introduce to you, is an honor, Senator Brooks.
Thank you very much, Lucia. I'm going to apologize up front. Unfortunately, my scheduling tonight is a bit off the wall. I'm supposed to be 3 places at once. I'm going to have to jump off this very quickly. I'm involved in a 9/11 program, and we have a meeting, meeting in like 4 minutes. So it's crazy tonight. First, Leslie has done just an outstanding job serving in her community, and each year in the Senate we have an opportunity to select one woman in the district that is honored as a woman of distinction. We do that in each of the senatorial districts. Leslie is our nominee this year, our honoree, I should say. As you can see on the side, we had a robbery in her backyard. We were all masked up and ready to go, but actually we had an opportunity to present her both the proclamation for her being recognized as a woman of distinction, and the large folder that I'm holding. It's not because my eyesight is bad and I can't read what we have, but rather there actually is a poster that is normally posted for the month up in Albany in the state capitol for all of the honorees. This year, because of the pandemic, we were unable to have that program, but we did have the poster produced also, and we gave it to her the other day. So she has just done an outstanding program with the SOYAN program. I know she'll have an opportunity to talk about that tonight. I'm hoping to be able to get back to this program a little later in the evening, but as I said, I've got to jump off to the other program, so I apologize to everybody, but I know you're going to be in great hands, and I know you're going to be getting some important information and have a very valuable discussion. These, as we all understand, are very much trying times. I certainly wanted to have an opportunity to listen to some of the information. One of the options, one of the situations we're talking about is dyslexia, which I am one of the many people who have dyslexia, but I didn't know that until the next to the last class I took in college. So I just considered myself a horrible reader and an outrageously bad speller all my life. Then at the end of the educational run in terms of grades and scores, I found out there was actually a reason. Since I've been in Albany, we're doing a lot of work in the area of dyslexia, and looking forward to next year really pushing some of the bills we have. So I'm going to leave you now. I apologize. I will try to get back. But I think you're going to have a great program today, and I thank everybody for their participation. And to my staff, I thank you once again. You've put together some outstanding programs, and for our translators, thank you so very much. I think it's so unique that we're able to do this and speak in multiple languages at one time and serve a great number of people. So it's terrific. And again, I apologize, I've got to jump, but I will try to get back. So have a great evening, folks, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Brooks. Again, it's my privilege really to introduce to you Leslie Feinberg, but before that, I would love to share a little bit about her. Like Senator Brooks mentioned, each year the New York State Senate honors a select group of outstanding women whose achievements are an extraordinary example for future generations. Congratulations to Senator Brooks, 8th Senate District 2020 Woman of Distinction, Leslie Feinberg. Leslie Feinberg is the driving force of the Grassroots Network, supporting our youth, her young adult network. Her mantra is, if not now, when? If not me, who? In 2011, Office of the People with Disability launched her Young Child Self-Direction Plan. Uncertain about her son's future, she began searching her community for helpful information. She completed the Long Island Advocacy Center lay advocacy training, writing law training related to autism and dyslexia, and earned the credential of Family Peer Advocate. Conscious of the positive impact of one person can make, she is devoted to local and statewide organizations sharing concerns for the developmental disabled. It takes a village to secure the rightful place in the community for our families with developmental disabilities. Through Sonia, Ms. Feinberg has created a village of engaging with community leaders to ensure New York State is a place where people live a self-determined life, supported by their communities with dignity and acceptance. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce you, and for everything she has achieved and her dedication and commitment and success. Congratulations, Leslie Feinberg. It's a privilege to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Lucia. I appreciate that. I am honored and humbled to accept the 2020 Woman of Distinction Award from Senator Brooks. Receiving the award today is a reminder how far I've come and how much more there is to do to ensure that our children with developmental disabilities who quickly become adults can continue to live in the community with dignity and respect. A few words about how COVID has taken its toll on the mothers in my network. As Lucia said, it takes a village to secure the rightful place in the community for our family members with developmental disabilities. More so now than ever. Soyan, supporting our youth and adult network, began as a place for families to connect, support each other, share resources, and then quickly expanded to include policy action. The COVID pandemic has stressed out all families. Disproportionately, the burden is heavier for the families navigating their adult child's disability. Research tells us over and over again that during these past months, mothers have been carrying the burden of increased housework, caregiving, providing entertainment and edutainment. Research also tells us that mothers caring for a child with disabilities, regardless of age, have less support for their children and as a result experience greater financial hardships due to changes in employment and loss of personal fulfillment. The pandemic has decreased all mothers' ability to care for themselves. For mothers of people with developmental disabilities, the added stress of managing the shifting and potentially diminishing landscape of state and federal supports is putting us over the edge. As a recognized family peer advocate, I participate in biweekly Zoom calls with stakeholders organized by the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, I'll call them OPWDD from now on, where provider agencies together with family advocates voice their concerns. My notes from these meetings are made available to the Soyan community. As the COVID curve was going up, every parent's worst fear was that their child would need to go be treated at the hospital and be required to be left alone without abilities to self-advocate. Imagine being in the situation where your family member was rushed to the emergency room, yet due to their ability to communicate for him or herself is not readily understood. Add to that the family member's confusion by the rush of masked strangers trying to administer medical care, and then being denied the support of a trusted adult to accompany them, to alleviate fears and communicate their needs. Regulations were actually in place that prohibited bedside supports. Regulations were also in place that permitted hospitals to choose who to treat and who not. Soyan stood up to OPWDD for the rights of people with disabilities and kept families informed of the advocacy efforts and tools families could use. Thankfully, on April 10th, New York State issued guidance to hospitals permitting bedside patient support for people with developmental disabilities. There's a saying, a mother is only as happy as her least happy child. When a child has a developmental disability, the struggles are magnified. When the governor put New York on pause, carefully curated community connections that have taken sometimes years to piece together were gone overnight. Adults with developmental disabilities have no one but their parents to care for them and attempt to provide substitutes for the routines jolted out of whack by the need to stay safe. For some, adult family members were brought back to the family home from either a group home or from their own apartment in the community, creating stress and loss of independence, and the loss of trusted caregivers who were sometimes more like family. While all families experienced challenges at home during the pandemic, There's a difference between parenting a neurotypical 18-year-old and one with a developmental disability. Typical 18-year-olds can manage on their own while mom and dad are either out of the house at work or working from home. Our 18-year-olds may require assistance and hands-on supports with everyday activities from personal care to using that computer for navigating virtual substitute day or community programming. The loss of routine impacts our adults. The questions are continuous. When will this be over? When can I be with my support staff? When can I see my friends? When can I go back to my volunteer position? We as parents are powerless. We must weigh the pros and cons and make difficult decisions. The whole country tunes in to hear Governor Cuomo's plain language and straightforward updates on the coronavirus. In contrast, OPWDD's communication practice continue to baffle us. Currently, 20% cuts to state Medicaid-funded rental stipends will destroy the independence of some adults living in the community in their own apartments. While we recently celebrated the 30th anniversary of Americans with Disabilities Act, actions taken recently by our government are putting at risk the gains painfully made by people with disabilities to be integrated in communities and living a life of choice. These are all issues that SOIN continues to address. But SOIN offers to families navigating the self-directed life for their child is the opportunity to connect with people who walk in their shoes. Twice monthly, now virtual, we stay connected and share the struggles and maybe help each other solve an issue related to process or a meaningful resource. Recognizing the stress of isolation on our adults participating in self-directed services, SOIN offers twice monthly virtual
SOIN ofrece 2 veces a las
lunchtime meetups with peers. We chat, we play some games, and discuss current events. Sharing information empowers everyone to make informed decisions that meet their individual and family's needs. More than ever, families are feeling the stress, frustration, and pressure of an unknown future that relied upon coordinated state and federal benefits, plus family engagement. SOIN members receive weekly blasts using MailChimp on changes or challenges with service delivery, resources for families to connect or use in the community. SOIN offers families advocacy action steps to share their concerns with legislators, state agencies, and the governor. Sometimes when you feel hopeless, sending an email is an action step. In honor of 100 years of women's suffrage, let me add, vote, everyone. Do not squander this civic duty. Americans have lost their lives fighting for this right. Women's issues are really family issues, equity, inclusion, and opportunities to be an engaged member in the patchwork quilt of our communities. And above all, to have real choices for creating a meaningful and productive life. Success is the cultivation of a self-defined, positive, and purposeful life for the benefit of the person and the world as a whole. America's greatest resource is the resilience, tenacity, and grit of our families. I look forward to continuing dialogue with Senator Brooks and the Senate's Committee on Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities on issues that concern my network. And I want to thank Senator Brooks again for supporting my vision for people with developmental disabilities and the honor of today's award. I'm really excited to hear about the other amazing women gathered here tonight as we address issues facing women. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to have you here for sharing all the dedication and hard work you've really put into helping our community disability as well. At this moment, I would love to welcome Debbie Panton. She is from CEO from Outreach and president actually of Outreach. So it's really a pleasure to have you here today. You know, before I really, start with this, I would like to really, you know, just say, I would like to leave everything, I guess, to say a brief hello to everyone. Yeah, let's take this opportunity to do this right now. So welcome, Debbie, for being here with us.
Thank you. And also, I would like to add the thank yous and the welcome to everyone who was able to join us today. But I also want to start by first thanking Senator Brooks and his office for putting on such an important session this evening. And I would also like to congratulate very much so the honoree of tonight, Leslie Feinberg, on her distinction, Woman Distinction of Honor. And I cannot second, third, fourth, fifth agree with exactly all the stuff that you said regarding your comments a little while ago. About Outreach, Outreach is a 40-plus year organization that is situated in Long Island. We have our roots are in substance abuse and behavioral health care services. We have outpatient services, residential services for substance abuse and behavioral health. We also have a DWI program and a DUI program that's embedded inside of our outpatient program. We also have specialty services within our outpatient services that has many different languages, that being English, of course, Spanish, and also Polish. We do a lot of work in adolescent services as well as adult care. In addition to that, we also do a lot of education and training, workforce training. We have a K-12 program that we also champion for the behavioral health. Next slide. As this panel today is on women's services, I want to just give a minute or so just to explain further the services that we have for women. We have services in our women's programs where we provide support for childcare while a woman comes to obtain services. And we also have a day rehab program for women. So as part of our specialty services, it also very much includes the women, the service of women services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, it's my privilege to introduce our guest speaker, and thank you, Debbie, you were the first one. At this moment, I would like to introduce to you Martha Maffei. She's the Executive Director of Sepa Mujer, Inc. And thank you again for taking time from your busy schedules to be here with us tonight. Martha, if you could briefly, say a quick remark and just a little bit about what your organization is doing during COVID-19.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I would like first to congratulate Leslie Fairburn for this being recognized as a Women of Distinction. And also salute all my colleagues that are being part today of this important webinar. So Sepa Mujer is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has been supporting immigrant women on Long Island since 1993. Our mission is to stand for the well-being and success of Latina immigrant women on Long Island, and our objective is to raise and unite our voices to be heard by social and political systems in our community. Through the COVID-19, we have been providing, we just basically launched our new Ayuda Latina, Latina Health hotline in April. So it was basically right in the middle of the pandemic, and the hotline was meant to provide assistance to victims of different kinds of crimes like domestic violence, sexual assault, hate crimes, human trafficking. But with the challenges of the pandemic, we basically expand our services, and we brought together we put it together different resources for people that were asking for help or financial help or whatever is that case manager, so people didn't know where to get food, they were losing their jobs, and our hotline is in Spanish, so people feel like they, Spanish speaking, they're called directly to our hotline, and it was, it's a lot of work because we're just getting calls from everywhere, not only Long Island or Suffolk County, but from other states as well. So asking for seeking help. And we're trying to connect through our hotline with different resources that are available. We have created a resource guide, especially bilingual, but in Spanish, so people can have access through the resource guide through our website. And we also continue providing the immigration legal services for victims of domestic violence, providing consultations via Zoom or WhatsApp or any other platform that people have access to resources. So, yeah.
That's wonderful how you're able to still offer this assistance to everybody who is seeking it, virtually. Thank you so much, Martha. It's a pleasure to have you here as well. At this moment, I would love to introduce to you Anissa Rivera. She's from Girls Inc. and she is the program manager at Girls Inc. Again, if you could briefly, say hello in a quick remark and share a little bit about what your organization is doing during COVID-19.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Senator Brooks, Melody, Lucia, and everyone else who's involved in planning such an important dialogue. And I would also like to offer my congratulations to Leslie for the very, very important work that you do. As you know, my name is Anissa Rivera, and I am the proud program manager of Girls Inc. of Long Island. We are the local affiliate of the National Girls Inc. organization. And our mission at Girls Inc. is to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold, which to us equates to the outcomes of healthy, educated, and independent. We provide comprehensive programming in the areas of media literacy, financial literacy, leadership, mental and physical well-being, college and career readiness, STEM, and the list goes on. During the last school year, we served 20 schools throughout the island and over 1,000 girls from as far east as William Floyd and all the way as west as Oceanside. During the course of the COVID-19 pandemic, girls on Long Island have been challenged in new ways, and the challenges they've always faced have been proven to be more difficult to overcome. At Girls Inc., we responded to their increased needs by providing increased support virtually. So since March, we've served over 250 girls successfully during live online sessions, and we've managed to remain a consistent presence in their lives and have continued to offer our traditional programming, which responds to the chronic needs of girls across Long Island, and more importantly, to provide them a connection during a time of isolation. The isolation obstacles we've all experienced during this pandemic were enhanced, and the issues they've always faced have been enhanced. But Girls Inc. of Long Island continues to address these issues consistently. We are committed to the rights and opportunities of girls and young women to reduce and eliminate the barriers they face and to reform any systems that impede their success. So just on the slide, you see some upcoming initiatives and opportunities. This coming November, we'll have our second annual leadership conference, which is open to girls in 8th grade and up, and also open to their families. So we'll be focusing on leadership, financial literacy, goal setting, and college and career readiness. We also have a new initiative called He's in Her Corner, because we recognize the importance of having men as allies for our girls and women. So we're encouraging men to be advocates and allies, and to continue helping us inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Wow.
And then our the last page right here, our upcoming Ruby Virtual Gala event. So this year, it was our 15th anniversary at Quinceañera, and it's looked very differently than we thought it would, but on November 5th, we'll have our virtual gala. There'll be an online auction, raffle, silent auction. The proceeds go back to Girls Inc. and back to our girls. But if you're willing to attend, you'd like to know more information, feel free to email me and the contact information that you see there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, you're doing amazing work as well, and just really opening the doors for all these young women, really, to become leaders. They're our future. So thank you so much with all you're doing as well. At this moment, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Dorothy Santana. Dorothy is from Latina Moms Connect. Dorothy, thank you again for being here. And again, just a brief hello and a quick remarks and share a little bit about what your organization is doing during COVID-19 as well. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be here amongst all these amazing women. Congratulations, Leslie. It's great to see you again. So yes, I'm with Latina Moms Connect, and our mission is to support communities in cultural preservation and the enrichment of our children's identities, right? And the way we do that is through social networking, facilitated dialogues and group activities that bring families together across Long Island to help share culture and connect them in hopes to enrich their identity and that sense of orgullo de ser Latino, right? That sense of pride. Next slide. Yeah, thanks. That's what we do. So a lot of our activities through social networking, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And so we'll have engaging dialogues online for women to connect on. There they chat, we share stories, traditions, jokes, all kinds of things. Then from there, we have facilitated dialogues. Like in this picture, we had a gathering. We'll do Sofrito Sunday, Bochinche Brunch, activities that bring families together and also share these traditions or begin new traditions with our children. And then we'll have large group activities like holiday events. So right now during COVID-19, because we haven't been able to obviously gather, we have had a COVID-19 response initiative where we've done bilingual post-testing guidance in the Wyandanch testing site. Some of our volunteers have offered interpretation for people getting tested. We've offered information and resource distribution in Wyandanch and Brentwood, food distribution through Island Harvest in both Nassau and Suffolk counties. We've done some census outreach in Huntington with some of our other partners. And we recently had a New Beginnings housewarming gift drive where we collect some donations for women and children who are leaving domestic violence shelters and transitioning into permanent housing. So that was a very fulfilling experience. These are just some of the pictures that of some of our COVID-19 response initiatives. Yeah. Well, here, this just shows you a little quick graphic on how some of our families in our group have been somewhat impacted by COVID-19. So I asked them, what are some of the challenges that they are facing and the things that they're concerned with? So the top 5 were they're concerned with their overall health, weight gain, their overall concern also with educational outcome of their children, whether it's because they're going virtual, because language barriers or digital access. They're challenged by the new roles that they're taking on. They're missing physical contact, hugs, kisses, handshakes. But some of the positives that we see here also are that they're connecting more with families. They feel a sense of gratitude, and they're feeling generous and willing to donate to important causes. Thank you. So that's a little bit about what we're doing.
Wow. It's amazing. A lot of work to be done, and keeping the family together is very key.
Yeah.
And thank you for all the work you do. Absolutely. You know, that unity is a very key factor,
Yeah,
I think, in
thank you.
keeping everyone together. So thank you again. Right now, you know, I just want to make a remark that, you know, the pandemic has really affected and impacted millions of people globally and throughout the US, different ways. And, you know, research has shown that women are more likely than men to say that lives have been disrupted because of the coronavirus. You know, unemployment has hit women harder than men, and women in the leadership roles are also facing distinct, you know, and often many challenges, such as balancing full-time jobs. You know, also we're full caregivers, providing care for their elderly parents. Some of us might be doing homeschooling, financially supporting our families, and we might be the breadwinners and more. So, you know, it is important that we discuss these issues, and this is a great opportunity to do that. So at this moment, I would like to actually start with asking just an opening question to our panelists, and it's going to be directed to each one of you. If you could please briefly take a minute or two just to really answer the following questions. The first question I have is, each of you has a demanding career and a variety of other commitments. Tell us one reason you have been so successful with what you do. I'm going to start first with Leslie. Ms. Feinberg.
Hi. Sure. I would have to say that it makes there are so many things that make me successful, and I would say that one of the biggest one or the major factor is the support of my family. So what I've been doing affects our family. So everyone in the family understands what I'm doing, pulls me away from other things. It stops me from being available at the drop of a hat. But everyone believes in what it is that what I'm doing is important. So it's the family has embraced it. It's not just my issue, it affects our family as well as the community that we've now created. So I would say it's my family believes in it. Thanks.
Beautiful. Well, very well said. Thank you so much, family. We can't do anything without them. Really keeps everything united and together. Again, the same question. I'm going to ask Debbie, and the question again is, each of you has a demanding career and a variety of other commitments. Tell us one reason you have been so successful in what you do.
Sorry for the background noise. Similar to Leslie, there are many things, but if I had to pull one out of the hat, I would say my servant leadership. I very much approach the work that I do as serving the public. And I get up every day. I am a woman of faith, and without a doubt, that keeps me going without saying. But I would also say that for me, it is definitely my ability to serve the individuals that I service each and every day. It comes with a burning passion to be authentic, a burning passion to always listen and listen with that third ear in terms of what folks are looking for. And for me to sit back and think how I can provide it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Serving those that are in need, not only in need, but everyone really, right? Everybody wants to be served and be loved as well. So I'm happy to hear that, you know, a woman of faith and going a long way with that. Very well. Thank you so much. I'm going to direct my next question.
Voy a pasar mi siguiente pregunta.
Just want to make sure I go in order here. Martha Maffei, if you could please, again, each of, you know, the question, each of us has a demanding career and variety of other commitments. Tell us one reason you have been so successful in what you do.
Sure. I think the reason why I'm being successful is because I don't see my work as at Sepa Mujer as any other work. For me, it's much more than that. I see it is my mission in life. I personally went through a lot of struggles as an immigrant woman myself, and I understand the situation that immigrant women, our clients, our members go through. I feel that connection and I related to that. I never complain about the amount of work or anything like that because of being in those particular situations and being now on the other side, even though my struggles are others, I feel the responsibility and my duty to follow the mission of Sepa Mujer with help my community. I am not going to lie that I am the person that found the balance between work and family. Unfortunately, I am not the one to say that, but I don't regret anything that I have done because I am seeing now the result of my efforts. I know that being successful is also because I am not doing this work alone. I have a wonderful group of members and leaders that have devoted hours working with me, volunteering, marching with me, getting training to use their voices, members that has been empowered to take action. This is not about me, but it's about how our members take ownership of the role in the organization. In addition to that, I have an amazing supported staff and board of directors that support me in every single way. And, you know, my husband is understand that my job is very important to me. You know, they share me with all that I do. And I feel that my family celebrate every single successful that I have through Sepa Mujer.
Very nice. Everyone has something in common, family support, and that this is your mission, right? I think everybody feels passionate about what they do. Now I'm going to direct this question to Anissa Rivera.
So I would have to say that I feel very similar to Martha. I truly believe at the core of my success is the true passion for the mission of serving girls and the true passion in breaking down those barriers that lead to and perpetuate gender inequities. I hold myself to my own commitment of progress and continued learning, but I would also be remiss if I didn't also mention the fearless and inspiring women at Girls Inc. who have supported me throughout my own journey and aided in both my personal and professional development. They recognized my potential often before I even did. So working in a safe environment like Girls Inc. has given me the space and permission to grow and to consistently seek that growth. And with this mindset, I find myself even more motivated and dedicated to providing the same space that's safe and nurturing for the girls that we serve.
Very nice. Thank you so much. The passion of serving. Very nice. That's very key. I'm going to direct the question to Ms. Dorothy Santana. Same question, please.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like with the same question, you're going to get the same answer. I think success is really attributed, to doing what you love and what you're passionate about. And with that, there's authenticity. And when people feel your authenticity, they just feel that connection and everything just shines through, right? So that one, doing something you're passionate about. The other is with Latina Moms Connect, we have co-leaders, comadres that help facilitate and lead some of these activities and things that, you can't do it alone. Work doesn't happen by itself. So we facilitate spaces that allow people to connect. And women and families love the opportunity to further develop connections between children and their cultures. So who doesn't love that? And that can't be done alone. So I love the connections I have with our comadres who help co-lead our activities. That's what helps make it all successful.
Very nice. Very true. So thank you so much for your time. And I'm glad you have, something in common really that makes you unique in what you are, all of you. The next question, just real quickly, if you had to start out over again from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? I want to start again with Ms. Feinberg.
I suppose I would just be more bold. I would just go for it. I've been hesitating to do things, organizing, to create a not-for-profit. I would have just been a little bit more bold and just gone for it. That's it. Everything else I've loved. I've loved all the people that I've met. I've loved all the connections that I've met. There have been some bumps along the road. It's all good. Life is a journey. It's all about learning. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Wow, that's wonderful. What about Ms. Patton?
Oh, that was, oh boy, that's an interesting question. But I would say, my personal approach to this work, I can't say there's anything that I would have done differently, but my business side to this work and what I bring with it, that I would do differently. Too late in my career, and I'm not that old, so that's to tell you I wish I did it when I was much, much younger, is just really understanding the business aspect of what we do. Because I think I always kind of focused and pushed myself on the nonprofit drive. That tells you I've only worked in nonprofit, and not recognizing the strong business aspect to it. And it's only within the last 10 years or so, 8 to 10 years, I really zeroed in on that. And I think in doing that, it helped my non-for-profit skills tighten. So that's what I would say I would do different.
Very nice. Again, we learn from our experience, and that's what's unique about it. And now I'll go to Martha Maffei.
Okay, we have to unmute. Overall, I don't think that I will do anything differently because I learned so much through this process. This journey made me a strong woman that I consider myself to be. I learned many lessons along the way. like for example, being a successful professional in my country and to come to the United States to basically start over because I don't speak the language very well. I have 15 years back, my English was so limited, built connections, network and support and lifting an organization with my personal limitations, but an organization that was closed for about 3 years and moved to Suffolk County where not many people knew about Sepa Mujer. And not only that, but an organization that really had like a very, very tiny budget. It was really challenged and, you know, and frustrated, and many times thought about, you know, to quit. But I was glad that I didn't do that. I also went through a lot of different experience, learning to meet and overcome all those challenges and developing my own strength through that journey. So I appreciate all this journey and process, and I feel like that I want to honor that experience.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go with Ms. Anissa Rivera.
So that is a great question. I think I would make the decision to not spend time in places that make me feel lukewarm. And when I say lukewarm, I mean in terms of passion. Feeling the drive I do today confirms that I'm walking in my true purpose, and I know I have a lot of work to do. But I think I would also tell myself to find a mentor early on and remind myself that I don't need to navigate this journey alone, that it wouldn't make me any less capable to have help. I would tell myself I don't need to soften my voice or dilute my presence or make myself accommodating to others all the time. With that being said, all of my decisions and actions have brought me to this very place where I am today, and I'm proud and passionate and motivated. My experience navigating this journey challenged me, but gave me valuable insight that I can share with the girls that we serve and all the people that I care about. So, thank you.
Thank you. Wow, beautiful. Now I'm going to go with Ms. Darcy Santana.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do much to change anything. Like most people said, it's been a journey, and things we've learned have helped shape, you know, the experiences we've had have helped shape who we are and where we are and how we're leading. So I would probably, if anything, I would have liked to travel more, because now with these restrictions, I don't know when we're going to get to travel, but.
Well, you all had beautiful, really answers to that, and we all have learned something very powerful. Now I'm going to pass it to Melody to continue with the following questions. Thank you, everyone, for really giving such amazing answers.
Thank you, Lucia. All right, so this next question is for Anissa, and the question is, as a woman and or mother, professional, and leader, what issues/challenges have you faced and conquered during COVID-19?
So as women, we face so many issues every day, and the COVID-19 pandemic certainly exacerbated many of these issues. I was fortunate enough to continue working from home and was privileged, along with my family, to maintain good health. However, I know so many other women were not afforded the same privileges. During the height of the pandemic, it was found that 1 in 3 jobs held by women were designated essential, making women, specifically women of color, more likely to be doing essential jobs than anyone else. Much of this work that they do is often underpaid and undervalued. But yet they're this labor force that kept our country going during one of the most difficult times and greatest times of need. And it's almost near impossible to talk about women in essential jobs without also mentioning that many of these same women were working full time while also taking care of children and maintaining a household. According to the UN, women do 3 times as much as unpaid care and domestic work as men. All of this in the midst of a pandemic, which in and of itself was found to have profound impacts on mental and emotional health. Personally, I faced challenges just in learning to pivot and really quickly at that. At Girls Inc., we had to move fast to make sure that we were still supporting our girls to the best of our ability. And we understood that the issues that they were already facing, like mental and emotional health, self-esteem, social media usage, limited resources, these were all going to be made even more challenging due to the pandemic. So as a team and an organization, we just jumped. We made the decision to go virtual, and in a week after schools had closed, we were already up and running. We made a commitment to progress and growth and really use everything that we learned to continue to improve what we were doing, because it wasn't perfect. This was new, we had never done it before, but we were there for our girls, and they made it known that it made a difference for them during this time. As a manager and a leader, I also had to focus on the well-being of my team amidst all this uncertainty. We remained transparent with our team, open to truly support and provide mentorship to them, just like we do with our girls. This summer, we held 10 virtual programs and served more girls than ever before. So as the school year is approaching, we will definitely have to pivot again, but I'm confident that with our resilient mindset and fearless team, we will persevere and we will continue to serve girls throughout this island.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Anissa. I also want to direct the same question to Martha. As a woman and or mother, professional and leader, what issues, challenges have you faced and conquered during COVID-19?
Yeah, well, I share with Anissa, working from home, in at least in my personal level, working from home and having the whole family at home, expecting that because mom is at home, it is kind of a weekend or vacation, you know, oh, just mom's home, but no, it's like really was very difficult to, you know, to everybody to understand at home that I have to work. That was a challenge. Support and supervise my staff. So we brought new staff basically in the middle of the pandemic, and it was very hard for me to, you know, to not only like provide the training online, but actually have this personal connection with the new staff. So I think I find that very challenging. Also to adapt our program. So we are a grassroots organization. We are very good doing one-on-one interactions, conversation with the community, talk with them, educate, inform, motivate them to take actions, and have all these in-person group meetings, but they were not possible in working especially with low-income families and people that not necessarily know how to use a computer or use a Zoom. So that was, I found like so hard to keep us connected. That was very challenging. Help people, especially Latino immigrants, who were highly affected in so many necessities. That was very challenging because we, as I say, we opened our hotline and people were calling everywhere with different needs. People that their relatives have, you know, died past of the due of the COVID-19, and how to respond when people don't have money to bear their own relatives or their own moms and dads and brothers. So also incorporating the culture aspect on that, because like in our culture, like we don't do mass cremation, for example. And to move that idea for them, no, we need to have a funeral. We need, you know, it was a cultural shock. And it was no other option that many people had at that time. So, and also my personal health issues that I have. I wanted to be out in the community, talking with people, helping to distribute food like many other people were outside, and, you know, have like, you know, you have my back, and but I couldn't do it because I facing health issues that I couldn't expose myself too much. So that was, I think, difficult for me.
Yeah, I think definitely before this pandemic, we weren't prepared for not feeling that connection and having, being able to not hug someone or, be close to anyone. So I think that definitely was a shock for everyone. Thank you, Martha. I'm going to turn it to Lucia for our next question.
This question actually is going to be directed to Debbie and to Dorothy. What are the most profound ways in which women's lives are changing as a result of this pandemic?
Okay, so I'll go first. I think some of the things that were mentioned previously by Martha and by Anissa, I think, I would definitely echo that. I would also, say that mental health is something that I think is definitely affecting women more because they are more stressed by the whole issue of the pandemic and also having to take care of kids. They are single head of households. Majority of the women, for instance, in my workforce, 2/3 of my workforce are women, and most of them are single mothers, having to do that quick pivot to working remotely while also taking care of kids were extremely challenging and continues to be. And it's almost like, another major challenge that they're faced right now is not knowing what's going to happen with school. And so they're trying to pivot to be able to be at home with their kids the days they have to be at home if they choose that, and at the same time having work. So one of the things coming up particularly at Outreach, we have to sit down and really think through exactly how we could support our mothers through this process. I also think we've seen, again, food needs. A lot of women, single head of households, not having, able to work. So there's a food issue, putting food on the table. And through that process, we were able to get a grant to help us, get some vouchers out to family members who are part of our programs to help them, get food on the table. This was a grant that we were able to land with Robin Hood. I just think the whole stress for family members particularly women dealing with this in terms of mental health and food care and also health. Women, again, have, unfortunately, we carry a lot of comorbidities, and with the COVID-19, the comorbidities is, is sort of an opportunity for this disease to run its course. And there again, women are faced with that challenge. So those are the things that I have seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Debbie. Much of that is some of the things I was going to touch on. I know that for our group and women that we've connected with, health is an issue, physical health, physical well-being, and the educational well-being of their children, the uncertainty of whether they're going to, obtain all the services that they need, if they'll be connected adequately to those learning opportunities that they would normally get in person. I think some of the other challenges are, women taking on new roles at home or deciding whether they're going to homeschool or do the virtual option, having the stress of making those decisions and then actually doing them, whether they decide to homeschool or not. But the other is women have, I think, taken on more an advocacy role. They've been having to advocate more to secure resources and services, and maybe that's something new that they haven't, been accustomed to doing. But now they've found, lots of women have found their voice and know now that they have to speak out and advocate for themselves to secure the things that they need. I think that there's a lot of isolation and feeling overwhelmed. for some women. Some women are learning how to navigate the digital world and the internet. You know, they're being forced to do that, something that they may not have been familiar with before, but now they've had to take that on. So there's pluses and minuses in this. I think also women losing their jobs and grieving the loss of loved one and family because of COVID. And also I think that, you know, women of color raising children during these times of social unrest and having to have difficult conversations, not necessarily related to COVID, but, you know, our racial tension in our country, women are having these really challenging conversations with their children. And that's just another burden and challenge that mothers are facing or women are facing. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, the insecurity and again, having to think about if we have children, you know, homeschooling, you know, or sending to school. So yeah, it is so true. Thank you so much, ladies, for answering that amazing question. I'm gonna naturally turn it to Melody for the following question.
Thank you, Lucia. So this one is going to be for everyone. We'll start with Leslie. As a woman who might need emotional support, who can they look up to for inspiration or mentorship during this crisis?
That's an interesting question. I would say, you know, we all need to develop our own tribes, whether it's faith-based or around your children. You know, I've been fortunate to have a group of numerous groups of tribes, and pulling them all together when my son was in a crisis over 10 years ago really helped me. And I think they're part of my tribe still. You know, as I've gone forward, they've supported me in other ways. Everybody has a talent that they can use to help you. And I'm not remembering, I think it was Anissa who said, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help and create your own tribe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leslie. Same question for Martha. As a woman who might need emotional support, who can they look up to for inspiration or mentorship during this crisis?
Okay, sorry. Sepa Mujer is available to provide support and guidance through this period. Women can call our 25 hours, 7 days per week to our hotline simply for a listening ear or get support. If they have a specific need for help to help address their or the family's daily needs, or hotline volunteers can help them locate resources that will be available for them. Our case manager is available if women are in complicated situations that may require more in-depth help. As women, we know that giving and drop strength to each other is very important. Sepa Mujer aims to empower Latinas in all areas of their life. To do what we have our monthly chapters meetings where Latinas come together to give each other support and dealing with the issues that touch their life. We create safe spaces where women share their concerns, whatever they are, personal concerns or community concerns. So also our members share their personal support, insights, and expertise. So women can to recognize each other's strength, may choose some actions as individuals or as a chapter as well. Sometimes just the act of being listened to is enough for a Latina to be inspired to try to travel to the path meant for her. So I think it's this connection, and I would say that is in this kind of emotional support to each other, understand our culture, understand the issues that we're going through, each other, inspiring each other. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Martha. Same question for Debbie. As a woman who might need emotional support, who can they look up to for inspiration or mentorship during this crisis?
Great, thank you. At Outreach, we have a women's program, as I mentioned, and within the women's program, we provide that type of support for our female clients. I would also add, similar to what Leslie, called the tribe. I think for me, during the quarantine, a lot of my female friends, we came together and we started a chat called the Quarantine Crew. And it was about just saying good morning and giving uplifting things and really checking in on each other. Do you need something outside? And it just drew a closer bond. But I think that also with that, for me, faith, family, and friends is where, a lot of women look to that kind of support. I think definitely um, this pandemic definitely allowed us to check our faith, check our tribe, our crew, our families in a different way. And what families, definitely meant before, it has redefined that in a number of ways because, family, even in the work aspect, you know, became more emphasized given the fact of how folks had to band together during this sort of developing and working under the unknown. So for me, I would say, faith, family, and friends.
Absolutely. I think a time where we can't, hug each other or go see each other, it's important to make sure we at least say, hey, how are you? How are you doing? I think I definitely found myself doing that more now, unfortunately, than before the pandemic. But it's a lesson that I definitely am going to take myself after all of this is done with. Same question for Anissa. As a woman who might need emotional support, who can they look up to for inspiration or mentorship during this crisis?
Sure. So at Girls Inc., we serve and provide support and mentorship for girls up to age 18. And I want to also include them in this conversation because I think it's also important that they can look up to others for inspiration and mentorship during this time. We also host many family and girl events throughout the year to support the entire family. But I saw something the other day that I thought was really strong. It was a shirt and it said, "We are as strong as the woman next to us." So I think that speaks to how important it is that we seek out other women as mentors and accountability partners. Many of the women on this panel here tonight represent supportive organizations that you can look to. And there are also many other organizations and networking opportunities that we can seek to get involved and to continue advocating for other women like us as a whole. There's the Women's Diversity Network. They connect and mobilize women for positive change. The Elevate Network, they have Elevate Squads, and it's a community for women who know that there's strength in numbers. Outside of organizations, like we said before, we can look towards supportive coworkers, friends, family members, and there's also things that we can look to that maybe aren't necessarily people. So many of us are using social media, and I recommend that when we use it, we do it intentionally, that we follow what we consider motivating accounts and motivating figures that resonate with us and we feel represent us and our goals. Same thing with literature. It can be very empowering and inspiring. It's also important for us to acknowledge that we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and it is, well, a pandemic and also the racial awakening that I hope it's a racial awakening for progress. But we are allowed to grieve and to feel discomfort in this time, and we should seek emotional support. And there are many mental health professionals and mental health organizations that you can seek out. Many are offering virtual sessions to ensure your safety, but they provide counseling on how to improve how we work through our emotions, how we can make ourselves a priority, how we can continue to challenge ourselves and strategize new ways to reach our goals, and to be a catalyst for many other healthy changes. So I wouldn't push that aside either. I would definitely want to highlight some mental health support that we can look to as well.
Thank you, Anissa. And last but not least, Dorothy, same question. As a woman who might need emotional support, who can they look up to for inspiration or mentorship during this crisis?
So I just ditto everything that, all of my peers have mentioned here, connecting with people, like-minded people where you feel your similar interests, things that you really connect on, you have similar passions. and those connections being made, I think you find those mentors within those groups. I know in Latina Moms Connect, while we don't have necessarily a mentorship program, I know that we've built some, women have built some strong connections amongst one another, and have found that mentorship role amongst the friendships that they've created in these spaces. And again, because we're in this pandemic, I think that there's many opportunities for people to find support and things that they can connect to online, virtually. And like Anise said, very intentional, right? So you can control your news feed to include things that are positive and uplifting and those inspiring type of messaging. And definitely if emotional issues that that really go beyond that emotional, where you're seeing something where you have symptoms that experience, you may experience symptoms that are related to depression or anxiety or other things, I encourage anyone to seek out medical and mental health services from a professional.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, ladies. Now I will pass it over to Lucia for our last question, and then we'll welcome Jessica to provide us a little quick reminder for the census. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mental health, really, it's a very big issue. And yes, thank you, Dorothy. We do need to get professional help if we're finding ourselves really in that condition. So thank you so much, ladies, for all your answers. The last question we have here, and it says, what advice do you have for a woman aiming or that has an interest in pursuing for leadership roles during this crisis? I'm going to ask Martha, if you could answer the question.
Okay, I think that it's wonderful that women want to help their communities because many hands make light work. I suggest looking at organization or group that is already working in a specific geographic area, or working on a specific issue, for example, helping people access food, and asking if you can be of help and how. These groups already have a sense of where there is the greatest need and how you can use your energy to help people in the best way possible. SEPA Mujer always want to include and welcome new members and can be called at any point at our office number 631-980-2555. We have 4 chapters in Suffolk County, in Pacho, Huntington Station, Hampton Bays, and Riverhead. Women can come to the chapters meetings, talk about their ideas, and get support and guidance from SEPA Mujer on how to proceed. If you recognize a community need that they think is not being met, but any community organizations, we can also strategize and assist maybe to help and also like deliberate on how to work with other members to address the need. No idea or effort is too small or too big. We can also bring the need to implement to the attention of a community organization to see if they might be able to work with you or share resources to do what you want to do. So for women who may be interested in community leadership on a longer term basis through the pandemic and more, one of the things that we offer is civic engagement and leadership development for women who have been interested in community leadership on a longer term basis through the pandemic or even more. So the doors of SEPA Mujer, there is no small project. We may not have the answer, but we can help to look for resources. Mm-hmm.
Very well. Thank you very much. Same question for Anissa. What advice do you have for women aiming or that have an interest in pursuing for leadership roles during this crisis?
So my advice is actually very similar to what I would say. My advice would be towards pursuing leadership at any time, and that is to develop a plan. And it seems like an obvious answer, but I just went through this process at Adelphi's Leading in Community program, and it is incredibly empowering and manifesting to put pen to paper to outline your plan, to identify what your goals are, any obstacles that may be in your way, including any the crisis may present, your strengths, your weaknesses, and identifying the next steps to take towards moving towards your goal. And I would share it with an accountability partner and check in on your progress regularly. I would also say, like I've said countless times before, is to seek mentorship and to look for professional development opportunities. And most of all, do not underestimate your value. So research shows, and I learned this at Girls Inc., that women often will not apply to career opportunities if they feel they do not meet every recommended trait or experience. But men will apply if they meet just a few of the same bullet points. So I urge women to step into your confidence, acknowledge the value that you bring to the table, your unique power as a woman, and let's keep moving forward together.
That's beautiful. Wow, thank you so much. That's a wonderful advice. Same question to Dorothy. What advice do you have for a woman aiming or that has an interest in pursuing for leadership roles during this crisis?
I would say encourage anyone to really connect with groups, volunteer with groups. There's many community groups, like Marta had mentioned, social action groups that are taking on different initiatives in the community. And while, you know, and not necessarily organizing it, but participating in it and being an active partner in those activities really helps build leadership skills in someone. Participating in your PTA, attending school board meetings, community board meetings, those are all really important aspects and really help build leadership. There's also a couple of initiatives. I know that there's a New York Early Childhood Professional Development Institute that has a leadership initiative program happening now. And so there's other opportunities, like Sepa Mujer has theirs. Other groups, I think Patchogue Medford Library might have a women's group. You can probably find, I know Parent Leadership Initiative through the Child Care Council of Nassau and Suffolk. They might be on hold right now, but those opportunities, you know, like Anissa said, develop a plan. So maybe you can put a couple of those things on your plan and then look into those at a good time.
Yes, if I may say also, I mean, we have such tremendous leadership right now with you ladies here. So take out their phone number. You can reach out to them, if I may say. I think that they have a lot of wonderful, you know, experience. And if I may say, they could probably reach out to you if they have any questions as well, if that's fine to say, ladies. Okay, and you know, thank you very much. And again, develop a plan, all these wonderful things, you know, guidance to become a good leadership. And also there's a lot of books that you could read, right? The Magic of Thinking Big. There's so much wealth of information and resources out there. So thank you so much, ladies, for taking your time out of your busy schedule. That was our last question. And I know we might have questions at the end from the audience, but at this moment, thank you so much for all your expertise and wonderful answers you've given us tonight. Thank you. At this moment, I would like to introduce to you, we have Jessica Fernandez. She's going to talk a little bit about the census. Jessica, thank you for being here with us.
After 3 months, I unmute myself without Melody tell me. Thank you so much. I really feel right now like I was in a girl night out. Thank you so much for all this experience and all that you know and for sharing with us. I am so happy. So I just came here to remind her that the census is happening. It's still happening right now. We have until September 30. Most of these organizations, I know that Dorothy and Marta, they are helping us. And also I just met with Anissa to engage the community and reinforce that census is important and it's easy to do it. It's important because it's the money, the funds that our state will receive, and more than ever, we need the money. And also it's about a political representation. So we cannot miss another step to be represented in the community. And where this money go? This money go for housing, for healthcare, from all our school programs. We know all the needs that we have passing right now through the pandemic with the school. So this is a good opportunity for all those people that help in the school with the lunch, with the breakfast, to find this money to support all these programs. We can answer the census online, by phone, or in person. We have MQAs, that is mobile assistant questionnaire, in supermarkets with the legislator. We are so thankful for all the help that Senator John Brooks give it to us. So we will share also the phone numbers where you can call. We have lines in Spanish, in English, and these other different languages that you can call. And the questions are simple. This is one of the issues that maybe the people can feel afraid, but we only ask for name, address, phone number, the gender, because for that moment, for that answer is the money where can go to an agency that help women or an agency that help kids. So they will ask you if you rent, if you own. This is for help for housing and who live in the house. But we don't ask about citizenship. We don't ask where the people come. We don't ask about any credit or report or nothing. It's only these demographic questions. And this moment we are in 61% in New York. So we need to encourage people to participate. So the areas that are in clear blue is because we are very, very low. So your voice is important to engage people and to try to do something good for our community. Is the best way to shape our future. And remember that the census is easy, it's important, and it's safe. This is our social media. Thank you so much for these minutes.
Thank you, Jessica. Very well. I'm going to turn it over to Melody if we have any questions, or Joe.
Yes, thank you, Lucia. Thank you, Jessica. And thank you all the ladies that are present tonight. I really learned a lot from each of you, and I really appreciate your collaboration with us. I don't see any questions in the Q&A box, but if you do have any questions, feel free to insert your questions in there. We will give you a couple minutes, and just before, if we'll wait to see if there's any questions, we just wanted to remind you that we do have another upcoming webinar, September 17th. It's going to be about diversifying the workplace. You can find those flyers and then the information on Senator Brooks's Facebook page. We do have two Facebook pages. One of them is English only language, and the other one is Spanish only language. You can see the URLs in there. Also, Senator Brooks, if you visit his website, you can sign up for the newsletter and you'll receive all those notifications to your email. We're just gonna wait a couple minutes to see if anyone has any questions. But we really are very grateful for the conversation and for the time of each of you. I don't see any questions, but I'm just gonna put up again all the guest speakers' contact information. If anybody wants to reach out to these individuals, feel free to do so. Let me just put it here. We have a comment from Lisa. She said, I came to support and honor Leslie for her unfaltering leadership and passion in her work with SOAN. We are so thrilled to have her in our network of people supporting individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. So tonight was a special treat. I am very enthralled to be hearing from such an inspiring group of women who are leaders driven by passion and enhanced by intelligence, the human connection skills that have made you so successful and inspire other women. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us this evening. Kelly also said, Jessica, thank you for all you're doing for a local community and to ensure that we are all counted.
Kelly is the best. Let me take 1 minute, because the woman during all this time in Wanda, she was feeling good, feeling bad, you know, helping people, redirecting, screaming social distance and everything. She's amazing. Yeah, really, she's amazing.
Yeah, we got a bunch of congratulations from the audience. So congratulations, ladies. Thank you so much for your time. Again, we have everyone's contact information up there. So if you want to reach out to them, feel free to do so. We hope to see you all again soon in person, but if not, join us for upcoming webinars. And again, we thank our community outreach group that has helped us make these possible, Senator Brooks's office and each one of our guest speakers. And congratulations again, Leslie Feinberg. We are very grateful that you were able to join us. Got a couple more congratulations, felicidades in Spanish.
That's my network, my tribe.
Oh, there you go. And again, just a reminder that on the 17th, we're going to have another webinar. It's going to be about diversifying the workplace. And in connection with that, we're going to be collaborating with some individuals that will help with re-entering to the workforce and helping with resume building and cleaning up those skills to get back into the workforce. So be sure to join us. And again, we're very grateful that you all were able to join us, and we hope you have a great evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great
you.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, all right, folks, I just want to say thank you very, very much. You were all
Senator Brooks is here. Maybe you'd
He's
like
back.
to come back. Last remarks.
That was great. That was really good.
Yes.
Juan, you can call it one. Thank you very, very much.
So I guess I missed it, huh?
Just missed it. We still have a few people and we still have our panelists and a few of the attendees. If you want to say hello, you can. Absolutely.
Well, I apologize for not being able to make it tonight. I'd certainly appreciate your participation. I can't believe I timed it when you just the way things are today. I don't know. But, for you guys that are working on these, Melanie and Lucia and Joe, they really work out well. I think it's a great bridge right now where we're in this horrific situation with the virus itself and the uncertainty that brings. And the fact that you can bring so many different people together at one time and have a discussion on various issues. I think for some people that are having some difficulty, they know they're not alone. And I think, again, I apologize for tonight not being able to be there, but in all of the other ones, the sincerity of everybody involved always comes through very clearly. The concern people have on the issue they're talking about and the effort they're putting in trying to make the world better, I think works. I think this is something, we're going to continue for a long time to come. It's funny, the meeting that I was on now in Seaford, the 9/11, we have a very major program each 9/11, and there are literally thousands of people that attend it, and there's some awards given out to the graduating kids and the rest. And this year it has to be canceled because of the virus, and there's discussion about people visiting the memorial during the day and stuff, and then just again the discussion of the meetings, because normally the committee meets beginning the first of the year every month going into September. And because we're doing it Zoom, there are people attending these meetings from all over the place across the country. And a lot of the kids that graduated from high school this year, 5 of them get the award each year. Some of them attended from college. So the thought is that they're going to continue the meetings this way. So people that are involved but distant and have to come back will continue that. And I think we've got the same thing here. Sometimes it's tough for somebody to get out, or you got a childcare situation, and you can go jump in one room and you can hear the kids screaming, and when it sounds like it's getting bloody, then you go check on what they're doing and get back. So for you guys, what you're doing with these things is tremendous. And if anything good has come out of this pandemic, it's that there's a way to communicate we didn't know about. And the great thing with this, when you're talking to people, to an extent, you know, after you get used to doing this, you kind of get your eyes to train and go across, and you can generally tell when somebody doesn't know what you're talking about, and you try to explain it. And you can also tell some people by their faces, it's time for you to shut up too. So it works both ways. But I just wanted to thank you guys for what you're doing with these things. And again, I didn't get a chance to hear tonight's, and I'm sorry. But of the last few, I sat here watching what was going on, and the quality of the information was being given. I think I said the last one or the one before, whatever, this easily could have been on television. It was that effective. And that's meant as a compliment. And so I just want to thank you guys. And unfortunately, this one committee uses Thursdays for meetings all the time. So, you know, I bumped into a problem, but with 9/11 so close, I had to attend the meeting tonight because we were making some final decisions. But I wasn't there, but I know it was great. Just by the smiles on your face, I know that you're satisfied with what did. So I just want to thank you very, very, very much. All righty. Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Senator Brooks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard what I just
Martha,
said.
thank you very much for your participation. I know you got to jump out. Sorry, Senator, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Thank you so much and have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Bye, Martha.
All right, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Dorothy, for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good.
Leslie, I just want to say congratulations one more time.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
really an honor.
We'll be
Thank you.
talking with you real soon about doing more
Hope so.
stuff.